Hey, I'm Patrick with Rowdy Restorations. Today, we're back in West Bend, Wisconsin for episode 3 of the Classic Green Reunion 2025. Stay tuned.
All right, well, we're back out here Saturday morning early again. Kind of the pre-show walk around. 4020 pulling a forage harvester. Pretty cool. Nice little R here. They brought out the 40 series lineup back here. Generation 2 tractors, considered by the collector world. The 4040, 4240, 4640. Notice these all have sound guard cab. That was a huge improvement. 4840. That's a heck of a tractor right there now. And then the 8440. And then the 8640. So just when you think you show up like I did and pull a lot of stuff out of your trailer, then comes in somebody with a lineup like that. Here's a really nice looking 4000 synchro range. Here's a 4320. And a 4620. Another nice lineup. Just when I said how nice those sound guard cabs were, look at how far we've come on that technology. These new tractors are like riding around in a high trim package pickup. .3020 utility, that's nice. 2020. So they have most of the 20 series lined up on this side, and most of the 40 series lined up on the other side. They've got a lineup of combines over here so you can see the advancement that's been made in those. Nice 730 pulling a old thrashing machine. The advancement in ag technology is amazing. You go from a thrashing machine here where you're feeding the stuff in by hand. 100 years later, maybe more like 120 years later, here you are with an X9 1100, 603 horse engine, 460 bushel capacity. Then you move down the line from that to a 55, which was a heck of a machine in its day, and it had a cab to stay out of the weather, down to the 45 down there. Nice 630 pulling a forage wagon, and they've done a nice job on that. Hey, look at that. I didn't realize that, but that's the same, looks like the same fittings they use on the 80 dump carts for the corners of the 80 dump carts, which would make sense. A lot of little parts like that that are carried over at several places. They've even got a couple John Deere bucks out here. This was John Deere's entrance into the ATV market, and it didn't really pan out for them too much. I think it was a 3-year deal. Horicon Works built those. There's a nice 3020 standard. I've always liked the standard tread tractors just because of the big fenders they have on the back. No 3-point. Pulling a little 68 auger wagon. And here's your 45 combine. A friend of mine had one of these years ago down in Florida, and I'd messed around with it some. Now back to what I was saying earlier about some of these guys and the craftsmanship into some of this stuff, these scale models that they build. Check out this 8020. And the tractor itself is an excellent representation of the actual tractor. But to me, that's just the half of it. Look at the 8 bottom mounted plow that they have built to go behind it. And it even has trip bottoms. I'm not sure if they've manufactured those themselves or if they're off of something else. They might be off of something else, but man, they did a good job on that. And then here's the actual 8020. They don't have a plow hooked up behind this one. They're a little bit hard to find, but there'll probably be one with a plow on it out at Rantoul. Sometimes they plow with it. Hopefully maybe we can get some video of that if I make it out there. That was John Deere's first four-wheel drive articulated tractor that they built in-house. And they only built 100 of them. And I believe they were actually all built as 8010s, and then they came back and switched over to 8020s. The Kellers have the only 8010 left. Quite the lineup here at Classic Green 2025. I don't think I got that one yet. That's a John Deere B with a cotton stripper on it. They use that in short cotton down in Texas a lot. Nice original tractor, it's pretty cool. So here's another custom job, John Deere B power unit. That's the information on the 111 and 113 engines. You can see here they built this one in 02. This is a what if type thing. See, they took a John Deere B and cut it off and then put that plate on the back. Made that casting to make it look like the 111 power units, but out of a John Deere B motor. Pretty cool setup. Kellers have a yellow one over there that somebody did that they bought. Here's the other B building, or the Bs that are inside, I should say. I believe I walked through the other one earlier. My dad and I used to have a pressed steel frame John Deere B. I can't remember what year it was at this point. I think it was a 51, ours was. That one's sharp. BW and then a BN. a BR. So the R was the standard designation. They didn't call him a BS, which, looking back, maybe there's a reason for that. It's a nice looking 60/30, 43/20. I mean, look at them front weights. You can see yourself in the front weights on this tractor. It's a nice tractor. So I said I'd come out here after he unloaded this stuff and look it over a little better, but I'm thinking he might not be unloading because it's Saturday morning. But here is another mini lift. It's only the second one that got brought out to the show. So we have 2 Navies here and 2 mini lifts. This mini lift was originally Don Maryhugh's mini lift. And Don was the first one to find one of these mini lifts and bring it into the collector world. And I can't remember the feller's name that owns it now. He's out of Minnesota. And then after Don found this one, I found mine at the week's auction in Florida in the salvage row. And then of course got mine bought and restored it. Now here is another forklift attachment. And I forget who made that, but judging by the colors, it might have been made by Johnson. But you can see it was more or less an attachment. You can take it off and change some things around and still have your tractor set up without any modifications. Tulsa Truck Company completely modified these into a forklift. There is no changing this and putting your mower deck back on it. This one here, you could pull that back off and put a mower deck back on it. That is super cool to see that. And then they've got some pulling tractors here. And then this thing is very unique too. I don't know the story on it. It's a 140 with a track conversion and a trencher on the back and a push blade on the front for backfilling your ditches, I reckon. I said a couple pulling tractors. That's the only pulling tractor. That tractor there is set up with a 2-way plow setup on it. Looks like an early B. And then over here on the other side, the red 140 patio with the sweepster body on it. And those sweepster bodies are pretty darn rare. And this is a 69. You'll notice there's not a cutout in the frame for the points, because when these tractors were new, they did not have points on them. They had solid state ignition, but they had problems out of that. So they all got retrofitted back to points. And a lot of people drilled a hole right here in the frame so you can get a screwdriver in there to take the points cover loose. So that's the story behind that. And then they've got another tractor up here on the front with some sort of little 4-cylinder motor. I have no clue what motor that is. Out of my realm of knowledge. Little auger wagon behind a nice looking 60.
Hey, so I finally got caught up with Chris Boyens here. Chris is one of the founding members of the club. He's been in it since the very beginning. And then he's also kind of bringing some lesser known John Deere stuff to the show. He's got a little car here. Tell us about the car and then we'll kind of hit on some classic green stuff.
Sure, PJ. It's a 1917 Veely that was built in Moline, Illinois. Willard Lamb Veely was John Deere's grandson. His mother, Emma, the Stephen H. Veely. Willard got into the carriage company in 1902 and into the car industry in 1908. They built cars in Moline from 1908 to 1928 was their official date. They go beyond. There was a few of them built in 29, but this one is a Model 28 5-passenger sedan. It's a Biltwell 6, has a Continental Red Seal 6-cylinder engine, Stewart Warner transmission. It was a very component-built car in its day. Veely, like most other manufacturers in Moline, Stevens, R&V Knight, and a number of other companies built these component-style cars until Veely did until about 1924. Then they started building their own engines. They started building more of their own components. And they also got into airplanes. The Veely monocoupe airplane. If anybody's flown in or out of the Moline Airport, the airplane hanging in the airport there is a Veely monocoupe airplane.
Cool. Cool.
They were known for buggies to begin with. Also built trucks, mostly for the French in World War I. And also actually made a tractor for a short period of time, the Veely Biltwell 1224.
Nice.
So,
nice. That's
yeah,
cool.
there's about 178 Veely cars known to exist.
Okay.
Some of them in Australia, in Europe, most of them in the United States. We have 7 within the Quad City area that we run around with there. So
Awesome. Now, what do you think about the show in Wisconsin?
Oh, this was a fantastic show. I think this is more stuff than we've ever had at any other class.
I would agree. It was sure a lot to try to get around to look at.
Yes, it was.
Did you get a count yet on the stuff?
I don't know if they got all the counts yesterday, but pre-registered. We had more pre-registered than we had show in Nebraska. So
awesome.
it's
What was the
continuing to
number for
grow.
the pre-registered?
Was right around the 700 pieces.
Awesome. And I didn't pre-register, so.
That was the part you're supposed to pre-register. That helped let me know.
Yeah, I know. But okay, so that's great. So we've exceeded 700 exhibits then at the show.
I would definitely think so. We exceeded 1,000 in Tennessee. I would love to see us at the 1,300 to 1,500.
I think that's.
But the amount of stuff that isn't here, it's the amount of people, and there's a reason we call it a reunion.
Right.
Everybody getting to see old friends, make new friends, and talk about this old stuff.
Absolutely. It's all about the people, right?
Exactly.
Well, good deal. Well, thanks for getting a minute. I know he's got to get off to the banquet. He's going to do that this evening, and they'll have some great announcements there that hopefully we can include in this video, because this will be coming out after that. So awesome. Good deal. We'll see you all around.
Thanks, PJ. Look at that dirt. I wish we had dirt like this at home.
Well, I got lucky. I managed to get over here to the thrashing stuff before they weren't doing it anymore. I got nervous they weren't going to be doing it today. It took me a minute. Actually, I forgot about it yesterday. John Deere AR here pulling the spreader. So I said the thrashing area because they have some thrashers over here. I don't know if they're running right now. Nice original tractor there. I love when they have the working displays. And I have plans of going to Kevin Boss's farm show at the end of July. And that's a working show, and then hopefully I can make it out to Rantoul as well this year. And that's another working show. Man, look at that 730 standard diesel with a tow behind baler. I've never seen a baler set up quite like that. Must be specifically for baling wheat straw. Here you go. This is the old-fashioned way. Back when people weren't afraid to work an honest day's work. Look at this setup. Feed in the hay press. That is actually a hay press, is what they call them. With all the straw that came out of the threshing machine. It was run by a belt pulley. And then they took the bundles of wheat, put them on there, or threw them in there, it thrashed it, and then comes out this end. So there's the wheat. And nothing went to waste because you take that straw and put it up for animals, and then this is the stuff that you're selling to make bread out of. A lot of work goes into feeding America. Of course, a lot of this stuff is streamlined nowadays. Oh, here's a Waterloo boy out here running. Awesome. Check that out. Before OSHA got involved. So this wagon here would have been pulled behind a corn picker. Would have picked the corn, and then they'd bring it back to an operation here where they would do the shelling. check this out. Running the sheller with the W111 power unit. That is a super cool setup. I love that cart. I don't know that I have seen a cart built quite like that. You usually keep someone close by when you're running belt-driven equipment, somebody close by to disengage the tractor or the engine that's running it, because these things will throw a belt off sometimes. Here's your auger cart, so you could take it and load it into wherever you want and store it. Now all of this is done in one operation. Big old combine runs through the field over a dozen rows at a time, I'm sure. I actually don't know how many rows a new combine will pick at a time, but I'm sure it's a pile. Go through the row, pick the corn, shell the corn, and put it all into its own hopper to where it can unload it into a truck, bring it back to a bin. 2510 just purring. Making them work for it. I guess this is how you go green when you've got a John Deere 2-cylinder diesel. That's how you know when the 2 cylinders are working. Look at it blowing smoke rings. So he said that last pull they did with both of them belted together, they were at 143 horsepower. But he said this tractor here made 99 on its own just a minute ago. Can I get a shot of that screen? Can I get a shot of the screen there?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
custom-made teeter-totter that they built. Brian Holtz had a lot to do with that, and they've been raising money for a scholarship fund with how long can they teeter-totter on it. Pretty cool. That's Chris Boyens and Chris Boyens and Jamie Bell. Here comes Angie on her new BN. She won that in the raffle. The FFA restored that tractor. How are you, Jerry?
keeping you running, huh? Oliver. I got checking out this Navy tractor again a little bit, and it is like how our Navy tractor has the plate on the frame. This one has the plate on the shifters here. And something else interesting, they updated the shift patterns with brass plates instead of just the decal on there. I thought that was kind of neat because they normally just had a decal on there. And so this tractor is a magnet tractor from the CBs. So they would have used that on runways and stuff like that, or keeping the runways clean. And you'll see here they even upgraded the caution plate to an actual steel plate so the decal didn't come off. This was an electromagnet setup. So this would have been Vietnam era equipment. Late 60s, early 70s tractors. There was a feller at Grand Island. That had the whole lineup. He had every size of the CB tractors, and even had stuff hooked up behind them. Had a bomb cart behind one, had a compressor unit behind another one. It was quite the display.
All right, well, that's it for episode 3 of the Classic Green Reunion 2025. That'll wrap up all the footage I shot during the show. Stay tuned to the channel. We'll have some footage coming up from the Keller Museum soon. And then also in about a week or so, I'm going to be striking out to the Oshkosh Air Show and the Boss Farm Machinery Show. So I'll have hopefully some footage coming up on the channel from all of those adventures. Don't forget to mark your calendars for June 24th through the 26th in 2027 for the Classic Green Reunion. We'll be in Perry, Georgia. Hope to see you guys there. And then as always, like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Doesn't cost you a dime. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.